Welcome to the latest edition of the Growing with God podcast. My name is Austin Fox. We're joined today on the segment by Claire Jandernoa from Pewamo, Michigan. Claire will be a senior at PW this upcoming fall and is very invested in her faith and very active in it, and that's primarily what we'll be discussing today with her. Claire, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast.
Yep, anytime.
So, like we just said, you're very active in your parish in Pewamo and in a variety of things in the faith. You lecture at Mass, you cantor at Mass, you get involved in quite a few volunteer opportunities. I guess the main thing that I'm curious about is what drew you toward getting so involved in your parish?
I guess both of my parents are pretty involved. Like, my dad lectors, my mom EMCs and stuff. And then when I was done with St. Joe's, through St. Joe's, they give the students opportunities to read a reading at Mass or stuff like that. So when I was done with St. Joe's and they sent out what ministries are you going to help out with, I was just okay, I guess I'll lecture because I was pretty good at it. I'm willing and able, and I know there's a need, so I'll just do it. And then as far as cantoring goes, I got involved in there was a little mini children's choir that we had for a few months. Nobody even knew about it. And then while I was doing that, it was actually Kelsey Hanks, but she was the pianist, she was leading, and she was I want to get you guys to start doing the psalm like a cantor would do. And then she was I'll make you cookies if you do. And then one time we were doing practicing, we were just doing practice the whole choir, and then she just looks at me and goes, "So Claire, what kind of cookies do you want?" And I was okay, I guess I'll do it. And then it went pretty well, so I just kept going. And then when that choir stopped, I just kind of joined the adult choir. Actually, I don't do much with them. I usually do stuff by myself. But I just kept cantoring. And actually, since then, I've started taking vocal lessons and started doing more. So, yeah.
So it's safe to say that cookies are the reason that you got involved in all these different things in Pewamo's parish?
Sure, I guess.
In what ways does it change your Mass experience when you get to do these things at Mass?
I guess sometimes it helps me stay focused and helps me prepare more, because it's I know, when I'm reading or reading, I usually read the readings before I go to Mass anyway, just to try to prepare. But when I know that I'm going to be reading it to the people, I just try to dig a little bit deeper. And then, so when I'm up there, not stumbling over words and stuff, but also so that while I'm up there, I'm still focusing on the reading and not oh, I look weird, my clothes are weird or something like that. So I can focus actually on what God's saying. And then cantoring is the same way. Sometimes it just helps me focus on the Mass, because it's when I'm in the choir loft, usually I'm sitting by myself during the Mass, so sometimes that can help me because I'm not oh, the person next to me is fidgeting or something. I can just focus.
You mentioned that your parents are pretty involved too in things like that. What role did they play in your life growing up in ingraining the Catholic faith in you and making sure that it has remained a priority throughout your entire life up to this point?
Well, I guess they just lived out the faith, Not only would they go to Mass on Sunday, but we would usually try to go to Tuesday night Masses as a family. And my parents do holy hours on their own. And I guess just them living it out. And then obviously I'm at the point where they're as a kid, they force you, you're 7, you're going with the family. But I'm at the point now where it's just, I've just taken it upon myself, I guess. I don't know. Their example was what really did it.
So you had a chance to attend Steubenville Lead this past year, and what that is it's a week where students learn leadership skills and kind of make the faith their own prior to the annual Steubenville conference that PW attends over the weekend. What was that experience like? What were your biggest takeaways from that opportunity?
Yeah, so that was actually really good. I didn't really know what to expect going in, and I don't know, I guess I brought away way more than I thought I would. I was kind of scared. You go on a retreat, you learn stuff, and then you get a spiritual high, and then you're oh, and then you come home, and then it dies, and then sometimes you're even worse off than you were before. So I was actually really paranoid that was going to happen. So sometimes that'd be my focus. I'm Lord, I don't want a high right now. Just give me what you want, but I don't want a spiritual high. And I really feel I didn't get a spiritual high. I learned really practical lessons that made me fall deeper in love with the Lord, but not on a spiritual high. It's stuff that I'm still bringing with me here at home. One of the one of the big ones I learned was, so I guess for the past, like, going into, like, junior year and everything, I started to, like, really realize that, like, oh gosh, like, my future's coming, I gotta start making decisions, and I was always like, God, like, what do you want to do with my life? What do you want me to, like, do to serve you with my life? How do you want me to, like, focus on you with my life, like, in my future and stuff, and, like, what do I need to change about myself so that you can use me? And then while I was at Lead, I felt God really like, I don't want you to focus on, like, what you want me to do with your future. I don't want you to focus on what you want me to, like, change so I can use you. Because, like, I felt him like, I want to use you now. I want you to, like, affect people now. I want to be able to, like, spread my love through you now. Like, obviously I have things I need to work on, but I was focusing so much on that and not on, like, my own relationship with God. And one of the nights I really just felt like when I was going through that again, where I was like, God, what do you want with me? Like, how do you want me to serve you? I felt him just like, when will you just love me? And I was like, oh, I guess it has been a while since I've just sat down to love the Lord. And I really felt him just like, when will you just sit in my love? And when will you let me love you back? Because I want to love you, like, now. And I was like, oh, my bad, God. Like, I guess I'll do that now. And then the rest of that night, I was just, like, sitting in adoration with the Lord, and I was just loving him, and I was letting him love me back, and I was like, oh, this is what a relationship's supposed to be. Like, this is what my relationship with God is supposed to be. We're supposed to be loving each other. And that was really, cool. So then the next time, like, during my personal prayer the next day, I tried to focus on that, just sitting in God's love, and, like, loving him, and, like, appreciating him. And it was really different, because, like, every little thing that happened, like, a little bird flew by me or something, and I'm just like, oh, that was really pretty, and I just felt God like, yeah, I did that for you, and it was really nice. It was just like a little date with God, and I was like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be. This is what, like, a relationship should be. And then another big one was the Holy Spirit. We, like, were given a talk on the Holy Spirit, and then they're like, okay, tonight, just pray to the Holy Spirit. And I was just like, well, that's easy. I do that all the time. And then I started doing it, and I was like, nope, this is really hard. The only time I ever talk to the Holy Spirit is when I'm, like, asking him for things. And I was like, yeesh, like, I don't know the Holy Spirit. I don't know him at all. And then I was like, I don't even know, like, how he feels, like, what he sounds like. So even if he was answering my prayers, like, I wouldn't know, because I just don't know him. So I just felt like a huge desire, like, Holy Spirit, I want to know you. And then, like, I looked up, and the way their chapel was set up, there's like a huge picture of Jesus, and then there's, like, a tabernacle and a cross. And, like, it was, like, my imagination, but it was, like, the Holy Spirit using my imagination. And, like, I just saw the Trinity in that moment, like, in a way. And then I felt the Holy Spirit say, like, you've known me all along. And then I was just like, what do you mean, Holy Spirit? And then he showed me, like, different parts of my life. And he was like, I was there, and I've loved you through it all. And then I felt him, like, every time you, like, see a butterfly go by, every time you're laughing with your friends, every time, like, the kids you babysit are, like, laughing with you, like, I'm there. And, like, I'm loving you. And that was really cool. So that's something I'm still learning, is, like, how to, like, identify the Holy Spirit in my life and how to, like, pray to him more. Because he's awesome. And then another big thing, I really struggle with pride. And on that week, I felt like that's something I was praying about, like, Lord, help me, like, be more humble. And I felt two big things to, like, combat pridefulness. One, I was taught before in confession. Father Darrell told me thankfulness combats pride a lot. So that's something I was really trying to use, and I felt God like, yes, like, you need to be more thankful. But also, I felt a strong desire to have a greater, like, spirit of service, like, to help other people out. And that makes total sense, because if you're focusing more on, like, how can I help other people, like, what can I do, that is very humbling. So, yeah.
I love that last thing that you said there about that love of service, and having gotten to know you over the past few years, I've seen you apply that in a big way in your life. We had a chance to go to Kentucky a few years ago in March of 2023 with a group from the area to do some work for people less fortunate than us in a poor part of Kentucky. Worked on houses, did some other projects for some poor folks living in the area. It brought a lot of just satisfaction and really was eye-opening and kind of puts things in perspective just how blessed and how fortunate we are here in the Pewamo, Westphalia area. What was that trip to Kentucky like for you and giving the opportunity to help out people the way you did? What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, first of all. Everybody should do that if they get a chance. It was just a lot of fun. But also, like, I was kind of nervous because I was like, oh, am I even going to be able to help out? Like, I've never actually done any of this stuff. And then, like, I got there, and they were pretty helpful. I was able to help a lot because they'd, like, tell me what to do, and they'd make sure I understand, and I'd, like, do it. What I did, me, one other guy, and then one of the leaders, we ripped out a floor and then put new support beams in, put new flooring in, and then, like, did, like new flooring. And then we had to, like, move all the furniture back in and everything. So, yeah, we ripped it all out. It was a lot of work. But, I guess seeing the family, like, the way we affected them as a couple, like, just their appreciation and everything every time we were there, it was really nice to see. But also, like, at first when we got there, I was like, I don't know if they have, like, family. I don't know if these people are, like, all alone. But they had a lot of friends who would come and visit a lot. And sometimes their friends would, like, come and, like, just talk to us alone, like, without them. And they'd just be like, thank you so much for doing this for them. Like, we've been worried about their house for so long. Like, thank you for caring. And we were, like, that was just so touching to see. And then when we left, they actually gave us hugs. Like, I don't know, most Southern people like them aren't super, like, touchy-feely, but they gave us all hugs, and they were actually, like, weeping and, like, thanking us. So that was just, like, awesome to see, and to know that, like, even though I was just having a blast the whole time, like, I was able to, like, affect their lives in such a great way.
To see the impact that you and the other workers there had on the couple that weekend was pretty emotional, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was so gratifying at the same time. The Bible talks all the time about how important it is for us to do service for those less fortunate than us, and the happiness it brings. It should bring joy when we do deeds like that for other people. And again, you have epitomized that over the past few years. You helped out at several houses in Westphalia as well this past spring break, this past March, doing just simple yard work for people. But that was probably pretty much the same thing, wasn't it, in terms of seeing the impact that you can have on those people and the joy that it brought not only them, but you as well when you got a chance to serve them. What was that pretty similar in that regard?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's also kind of nice because, like, these people, it's like, I know these people, I, like, see them when I, like, go to Mass in Westphalia and stuff, so it's kind of almost a little bit more personal because I kind of knew them, and sometimes they'd be like, oh, I'm related to, like, your grandma or something, or like, oh, yeah, I'm good friends with your grandma, so it was a little bit different in that aspect because it was a little bit more personal, too, so, yeah, that was awesome, too.
That one, yeah, definitely hit close to home in a big way. And working in Westphalia this past March, also, we didn't have the risk of my car potentially bursting into flames to and from the work site like we did in Kentucky, but that's probably a topic for another day. One aspect about the faith that I think is very inspiring for other people to see in regards to how you live it out is that you make it fun. You always make it fun. There's always a joyful, fun, happy aspect to it, and that's what it should be. Our faith should be fun, but not everybody lives it out that way. How important is it to you to make your relationship with Jesus Christ fun?
I guess that's something I didn't really prioritize until, like, when I got to lead, because I was just always so focused on, like, God, how do you want me to, like, live for you? How do you want me to serve you? But I guess what makes it so fun now is, like, when I just felt him, like, just let me love you. Like, it was almost more peaceful, too, because now it's, like, instead of, like, every time I have, like, open space in prayer, I guess, where I'm not praying for anything specific, instead of always just being, like, what do you want from me, Lord? Like, what do you... And, like, worrying about that, it's just, like, hey, Lord, I love you. And then, like, I just feel him love me back. And I know that doesn't really sound fun, but, like, it just is.
It's comforting.
Yeah.
And so many people nowadays, it's all rush 24/7 where they're trying to do all these good things, but it's so important just to stop and, like you said, love Jesus right there in the moment and to kind of sit back and rest for a little bit. Chris Stefanik and Pat Lencioni, two renowned Catholic speakers, have a podcast where they always talk about this, the importance of rest. And they always compare it to God and the fact that he spent a day resting. Day 7 was a day of rest. And that's obviously how we should treat Sundays, but it's important to take other parts of the week as well and just sit back and rest and worship God and reflect on everything he's done for you right there in that moment. Claire, I've seen you be an inspiration for a lot of people. I think that the way you live out your faith is very encouraging for people to see. Thank you so much for being with us once again today.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you, everybody who tuned in as well. We will have another podcast with another PW student out in a few days. Until then, we hope you all have a blessed rest of your week.